What is up, Sycamore artists? Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome back to another lesson. Welcome back to another week. Hope everybody's safe and staying busy, staying creative. Hope you guys enjoyed the lessons we've been doing. Previous one, I know there's a lot of technical elements involved, using straight edges and straight lines and templates and things like that. Kind of some big words, you know, there's geometric abstraction and architectural illustration and two-point perspective and typography and all those things. Seems pretty complicated. It can be at times, but what it really comes down to is just playing with shapes and understanding some basic margins. And once you guys master those, you can apply that to any artwork. And we'll come back to those lessons next week, but I actually wanted to shift focus. We just passed Earth Day, April 22nd. So I wanted to talk about that and what it means to me, what it means to you guys, and how we can incorporate that into some artwork. So Earth Day started in 1970, and it's every year on April 22nd, and it's a day to demonstrate for environmental protection. And this is the only Earth we have, and we need to make it last for ourselves, future generations, and protect what we have. So that's what Earth Day is about. And I wanted to talk about how we can incorporate that theme into some of our artwork. And what I like to do is use materials that I have around the house. And so I want to talk about recycling and reusing some things that are just around the house and we can incorporate into our artwork. So with that, we're going to be focusing on collage making. And collage is a piece of art that's made by cutting and pasting various elements, materials, cutting various materials and sticking them onto a surface. So it could be photographs, stickers, pieces of fabric, magazine cutouts, construction paper, anything that gets put together to create a new image, a new piece of art. So we're going to focus on that. As you can see, probably in the example, there's some down here that I've done. I'll go over those with you in a moment. So we're going to incorporate Earth Day into collage making. And collage making is really cool. It's really fun because you can make really whimsical, meaningful, lasting pieces of art. And we get to reuse some materials around our home. And I know I talked about that earlier, is staying creative and just using things that we have. It's nice to have really cool paints. It's nice to have all the markers. It's really cool to have clay and clay wheels and all these cool various types of media, but we can use things around our house every day. So first off, I just want to show you guys what I have here. I have a big stack of paper and stuff right here, and I'll go over what I have. So first off, whenever I get a shipping package, or if your parents get a package or a box or something like that, I save the brown paper that's inside. So the brown paper that's just crumpled up, I'll lay it out and flatten it out and then fold it up. And I use those in my artwork because I like to make various types of prints, limited edition prints, and or in my collages and whatnot. So I'll use this paper. I've got a few stacks of different colored craft paper, that's what this is called. I use this for projects, so I like to save that. Whenever there's a birthday or any holiday, I know that there's always a lot of tissue paper involved, and most of the time that just goes into the trash. I've seen it a lot, but I save it. I save every scrap of tissue paper for a couple reasons. One, if there's ever a birthday party, I don't need to go and find tissue paper. And I incorporate that into my art as well. I do a lot of printmaking, and I incorporate the different colored tissue paper into my printmaking through a process called, it's called chine coller, and that is gluing various colored pieces of paper onto your print to create colored elements. So we can talk about that later as well. It's a fun process. Another thing I do is I save a lot of different mailers. And what I mean by mailers is your parents, when they get regular mail, they probably get various ads and things like that in the mail. Sometimes there's coupons or just various things. Depending on what they are, I'll save them because there's a lot of different color. Sometimes there's different print. Sometimes there's various photos in here that I can use. So I'll save things like that. These make really good resources for collage making, and so yeah, save those. The other thing that I do is if there's any old magazines laying around the house that have been read a bunch of times, or if they're just no longer in circulation, or past issues, I'll cut those up, taking out favorite pictures. So this is a really old digital camera from like the 90s, mid-90s, or something like that, early 2000s, I don't even know. It's just a really, really old model. So I cut that out, and I'll probably use that in a piece of artwork. I'll probably use this watch that I cut out. There was a jar of milk, so I'm going to use that for something. So again, you can just go out and use your scissors, ask your parents if it's okay first before you start cutting those things out. Magazines, you can find so many pictures, so many colors, and so many textures. And the other cool thing about magazines is how many words you can find, because words play a very, very important part of the collaging as well. You can create letters, you can create new sentences. So that's another thing. The other thing is whenever I get mail that has a little window on the envelope so you can see the addressee, I will save those, and I'll use the inside of those for texture sometimes, or for color. And as you can see here on this part of this example of the collage, I've actually cut out the window and used it for my artwork. Lastly, there's always a bunch, if I can find them, where they are. We'll just show you right here. I use Post-its sometimes for little pops of color. I'll just add a little bit of extra glue on the back, and then glue those on here for little pops of color, as you can see right there. So I'll talk about these collages in a moment, and I'll talk about something called composition and how those elements are going to play into this exercise. One moment, please. Sorry, I had to get a drink of water. My throat was getting dry. So we're going back to the collaging. You can use things like tape. You can use color tape, washi tape, duct tape. You can use whiteout. You can use other colored pens or markers to add embellishments. But mostly we're going to be focusing on cutting things out and using recycled scraps of material. So you can save, if there's a cereal box that you want to cut a character out of, you can do that. But the thing that we're going to be focusing on is reusing materials to create a collage that is about Earth Day and what Earth Day means to you. And we're going to talk about that right now. So Earth Day to me is, although it is celebrated every day, and this is a day for demonstrating environmental protection, I think the spirit of Earth Day and the theme of Earth Day should be something that we practice every single day. And that means recycling, using less, trying to reduce what's called your carbon footprint. So riding your bike more, walking, taking public transportation, growing your own food, all kinds of things. It can go on and on and on. So I try to figure out things every day that I can do. And so what Earth Day means to me is, how can I inspire other people to live that same way every single day, And when I think about the future, essentially, I think about my future. I think about everybody's future. When I think about the future, I think about youth right now. I think about youth. I think about kids. I think about children. I think about young and inspired creative minds like yourselves. So I decided to make a collage using a big piece of cardboard that was going to go in the trash. You can see right here, just a big packing piece of cardboard that was going to go in the trash. I liked the shape, I liked the texture that it had. This kind of looks like, to me right off it, I thought of like a little bit of a honeycomb or something. So just before I put anything on here, this piece of cardboard alone spoke to me. It just had a really cool shape and cool elements. So I knew that I wanted to use this in a piece of artwork. And then the next thing I did was I took a piece of tissue paper, one of my own pieces of tissue paper, and I got a circle template, a really big plate, traced it using a pencil or a marker, and then I cut that out with scissors, and then very, very lightly glued this on. you know, and found this bird, which was, I think, in a National Geographic, and it was from a camera ad. So I took the bird out, placed him in the center, and then there was another, I think, various ad where I saw a hand, and I thought, wow, like, you know, the future is in our hands, essentially. The future of life and of the planet is in our hands. So I decided to put that there, kind of placing that as a meaning. And then I thought about youth, and I thought about inspired young minds like yourself. So I thought, you know what, the youth, the future is in the hands of our youth. And that's what I wanted to put right there. And I wanted to put this person, this is actually just another random ad too. This kid, so I cut him out, and he was staring up perfectly. And I thought, man, it's gonna work really, really well. He's gonna be staring right at the bird. And I used two Post-it notes. I just glued them down to really bring attention to him. And it's a really simple collage. Very, very simple. There's, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cutouts, piece of recycled material. I used a black marker to make my border around here. And to me, it speaks to me. It speaks a lot. You know, I like this piece. I'm really happy with it. Our assignment for this week is to start thinking about what Earth Day means to you. To start thinking about how you can inspire everybody around you, how you're going to be inspiring young minds one day. I want you to think about how you can translate that into a piece of artwork using some recycled materials. So whether it is, you know, bits of paper, bits of old magazines, old photographs, old pieces of fabric. You can even use leaves or pieces of grass or flowers. You can use pressed flowers. So that's another thing. That's another lesson I'll show you guys later how to do. If you don't know already, it's really simple and really fun. You can use that. Excuse me. So just think about what Earth Day means to you, how you're going to reuse some everyday materials into a new piece of artwork. And what's cool about using recycled materials, if you think about it, these things are kind of designed to serve, they're designed to serve a purpose, if you will. And when I say that, we only use them for one thing most of the time. It gets our attention, and then we use it to wrap stuff up in, and then that's about it. We discard it, and it's done. Same with a Post-it note. We'll post it somewhere, write a note on it, crumple it up, it goes in the trash. The magazines, we look at it, we look at the photo, we intuit that information, and then we're done with it, and then it goes in the recycle or whatever. But what's cool about collaging is you can take all these things that are only meant to serve one purpose at one time, and you can put them all together, and now it creates a new, really long, lasting piece of artwork. So again, we're going to focus on collaging as we move on, using upcycled materials, Earth Day and Earth Day themes. And I actually wanted to talk to you about a few collage artists. There's quite a few. If you want to do a quick online search, Google search collage artists, an abundance of them. There's a lot of fashion collage artists. There's actually, one of the most well-known artists. His name is Henri Matisse. He's a French artist, and he was a printmaker, and he is very famous for his cutouts. As you can see, I'll share some of these in here. He's famous for his collage work. They used construction paper. He would cut them out, floral patterns, and his style of collage is very, very, very famous, and it is very sought after, and it's very inspiring because he uses simple shapes and then lots of color. So you guys can look at that. Another one of my favorite artists, his name is Nick Bakari, and these are some of his examples you can see. I'll share on the screen. He uses old vintage travel catalogs and science fiction as well as space magazines, and he takes those two and puts them together to create this really, really, really cool visualization that you can see here on the shared screen. So Although those two aren't examples of using upcycled materials, those are two examples of really, really cool collage art. So what I want you guys to do is, again, focus on finding some really, really cool colors and patterns, things that would normally just kind of get discarded in the trash of the recycling. See if we can cut cool shapes. And we will focus next week on what we call composition, and really making a new piece of artwork out of our upcycled things that we have. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed the previous three about the lettering, the architectural rendering, and the geometric abstraction, because in the end, when this is all said and done, we're going to be able to put all of these elements together to create amazing pieces of multimedia artwork or simple basic, other simple basic artwork as well. So excuse me if I'm rambling, don't pay attention to that. There's not much instruction in this video right now. It's more of an introduction to what we're going to be doing next week. So again, stay creative, stay busy, stay inspired, and I will see you guys soon. Take care.